Here are the top 10 Call of Duty Xbox Series titles. Be sure to like the video. Subscribing is great as well. It's time to answer the Call of Duty and go through the best of what the franchise has to offer on the platform. So first up, we have Call of Duty Modern Warfare Remastered. So this takes Call of Duty 4, probably one of the most, if not, I would say the most iconic entry in the franchise. It completely revolutionized, well, basically the modern shooter. Perks, classes, prestiging, leveling, and playing in such a way that just truly sort of created all of these new systems of gameplay that so many other games were trying to emulate and sort of improve upon, not to mention a gripping narrative and single-player combat. It's got a great story, it's got excellent multiplayer, and it's a game that continues to be incredible even today, and this upgrade makes it look fantastic. This is Call of Duty Black Ops. The original Black Ops entry in the series brings some great levels of mystery, some intense action, some iconic Call of Duty characters, and it also brings the definitive Zombies experience. You get all of the classic awesome Zombies levels improved alongside a whole host of incredible maps that are present here. It's also got some really gritty, intense multiplayer that raised the stakes in regards to some new ways that you're able to do your classes, to customize your weapons, to customize your sort of like symbols and everything. So you could have like custom pictures on your guns. It was so cool. So you had a great campaign. You had incredible zombies, the peak of the zombies, I would say, of the entire Call of Duty franchise. Epic multiplayer that was a blast to play. Black Ops 1 absolutely delivered a refined, awesome Call of Duty experience. This is Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. We're going with the original version of the game, so that you get not only the epic, intense single-player campaign, but you also get the online multiplayer that is so well loved, very expansive, and of course filled with some of the greatest maps for multiplayer. You also had your Spec Ops modes, so you were kind of working through all of these different challenges alone or with someone else. It really did do some new things, and it really did evolve and push the franchise to even higher numbers, larger acclaim, and even more action with a battle and a campaign scenario that hit closer to home for a lot of the players. Since this did really kind of blow out the idea of a global war, and it was very interesting to see that take place in the modern setting with some crazy maps, crazy moments, and some wild twists along the way, which just make this one an awesome experience to play. This is Call of Duty Black Ops 2, a very, very well loved entry. You get a really intense campaign where it's sort of the split between the past and the future. It's kind of like, I guess back then it was actually a bit far future, but now it's getting a little bit more near at the time of doing this. But yeah, you get that intense campaign, which continues the whole sort of storyline of the Black Ops franchise, but across different time periods. You get a Zombies that has been greatly expanded upon with these massive maps and building and unlocking and lots of confusing dynamics to those Zombies maps and a lot of really cool places that you get to go and battle in. Then you've got the multiplayer, which continues to use that theme of more advanced weaponry across a variety of unique locations. It really is a multiplayer that a ton of people love and even enjoy really quite popularly even today, which is wild. This is Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, the second Modern Warfare. This one brings some really intense visual upgrades and overhauls, an intensive campaign. You've got this really, really well done multiplayer experience that is just an absolute blast. It really does feel like that classic, awesome Call of Duty experience. And as they continued adding maps, it really is just a well-rounded, intense tactical experience. Then you've also got these really interesting, like, kind of cooperative type missions. You've got the war zone selection that's like, part of this, not part of it, but sort of around the time of this game, so it is kind of an overall package, if that makes sense. So they really did do a lot with this. They pushed boundaries for technology, visuals, gameplay, and they just brought that more intense modern combat to life once again, which was really quite exciting. This is Call of Duty World at War. This is an incredible World War experience featuring some slightly different theaters of war, especially at the particular time. It was brutal, it was gruesome, it was violent, and it was filled with surprises, whether you were playing the campaign, which you could actually do cooperatively too, which is cool, or experiencing zombies for the first time in the Call of Duty franchise, or if you were doing the multiplayer, which featured really gritty, intense combat. It really did lean heavily on the concepts of Call of Duty 4 set up right before it, but it did provide a visceral, intense setting in World War II that I think a lot of people really did love, and it continues to resonate with a lot of people even today because it is a really cool setting. It's got epic moments, epic characters, and it really was actually like a precursor for what became the Black Ops franchise. This is Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, the original. So this actually was a really large offering. I think people often forget just how big this game was. You had this epic conclusion to the Modern Warfare trilogy in regards to the narrative and the story. Everything kind of wraps up. There's emotional, hard-hitting points. Then you had the expanded upon Spec Ops, and then you had a multiplayer that was absolutely massive and filled with so many different maps and game modes and content. Modern Warfare 3 really was quite a complete and full package that expanded upon the concepts that were designed and really just made available from the first Modern Warfare experience, the second Modern Warfare experience, and it all just kind of came together for this third one in this huge globe-trotting adventure where you got to see all of these crazy places, see how the stories end up for these characters, and enjoy the many twists, turns, and crazy action along the way in the original Modern Warfare 3. This is Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2019, as that's the easiest way to kind of just split it off naming wise. This game was a big deal. It really did kind of, I wouldn't say revitalize, but it really did change the aesthetic, the style, and just what a Call of Duty title really could be. It was such a visual upgrade and overhaul compared to anything we had had prior. It really was quite an improvement in the series in a great new exciting direction. You had a refreshed campaign that could kind of lead into what happened before but also become its own thing. You had all of these new kind of concepts. The Warzone for the first time was kind of tied into this game. You had some cooperative stuff. It really was excellent. And then you had multiplayer with these more realistically carved environments, all of these intense weapons, a complete shift for how multiplayer was done. Yeah, this really was a big change up for the series that we're still kind of leaning on even today. This is Call of Duty World War II, a return to boots on the ground combat, and a favorite of mine in the series as it provided some really incredible multiplayer moments. The campaign was really quite intensive, and it tried to change things up a bit in regards to like how health was used and just kind of the gritty, intense combat of World War action. This was so refreshing at the time because we had gotten so many far futuristic Call of Duty titles. It was nice to go back to something that was a bit more, classic, simplistic throwback. So you got really gritty, crazy zombies on top of this. Like the zombies was really quite gnarly and different and still felt traditional while also doing new things with zombies as well. Then you had this intensive multiplayer, including this awesome new war mode where it was like objective based, but then you also just had really good old school style Call of Duty shooting action that I think was a lot of fun and very refreshing and needed at the time. This is Call of Duty 3. This will always be a favorite of mine. It's where I first kind of started with the franchise. You get a really gripping, intensive, awesome campaign with all of these different factions doing all of these different efforts in the war and, the World War II scenario and era. Then you got this really exciting online multiplayer that probably feels a bit arcadey today, but it was gripping and intense, and there were vehicles like tanks and jeeps, and you could do like quick medic reviving just by stabbing somebody with an adrenaline, and it was crazy. It was epic. So the campaign was just really, really awesome, very well done. Lots of surprising moments along the way, and then you had this awesome multiplayer experience that I think personally still holds up today, being very different in this series. So anyways, 10 incredible Call of Duty experiences across all different eras of Call of Duty gaming. Once again, liking the video is great and subscribing is great as well, and it's time to answer the call.